Hello.
Hey,
Hi. Welcome to JA Millionaire Circle, where wealth starts with mindset. We're Jazmin and Angelica, two ambitious Latinas sharing our raw, real-time journey to millionaire status. No overnight success stories here, just the hustle, lessons, and mindset shifts as we make it happen. Let's build, elevate, and inspire together. Hey, Angelica.
hey, Jazz.
What's going on? Where are you at? I love every time we do this, there's a different background. I love how you just roam around.
I'm at a coffee shop
A
down the
coffee
street,
shop.
down the street from my place because uh, our furniture hasn't arrived yet, and then I'm close to where there's food, which is at the casa. Um, I'm just, yeah, making it through finals. Today is, well, this week is my last week of finals, so I've been,
Yeah.
girl, look at these baggies.
You're at the end and you're at the finish line, at
I
least for this semester. And then you get to
Yes.
enjoy the holidays. I mean, this Q4 is like the most exciting time. I love Q4, not only for the holidays, but it's like, okay, how are we wrapping up the end of this year? It's time to start contemplating how we're going to set ourselves up for success for next year. Like Q4 is an exciting time. Have you, okay, before we even go into next year, I want to make sure we're saying this. You're wrapping up your PhD program. I know some other stuff's in the works. Can we talk about it with
Many.
your business?
Yes, I've got a few things on the burner, as do you. Honestly, I think this whole year has been great for both of us, but I think this quarter has been the most exciting and maybe hardest quarter, but fun. I think we're learning so much about the business and stuff like that. Like we were not here 5 months ago, so it's getting even more excited. But I launched the website on my business today, so I'm waiting for the final glitches and touches to fix, and then I'll announce it being released. And then yeah, I've been working on that business, and then I take a break from school till like mid-January, and then I'm about to start my real estate classes here in New York. So I'm super excited.
So much stuff going on. And I don't know if we talked about it on the last episode, but you've now filed for your business entity. So you've got the actual business entity filed and documented. We now have the website that is about to launch or has launched.
It's not it was live last night, but there were some glitches, so it'll be live
Okay, so
today.
the soft launch that was kind of just testing, doing a little test launch. Okay, but it's almost there, almost ready. Oh, that's so exciting. And I mean, I don't mean to brag, but I got to get a sneak peek of this website and it looks so elegant. She has all of her samples of her work on there and her backstory of how she got there. It's definitely going to be something to check out. I'm so excited to get to promote this when this comes out and get that business up and rolling.
Thank you, Jazz. Honestly, it's been such an inspiration to watch you through your journey. And I ordered my book, and I actually have it right here in my bag. So it's here in the flesh. So I'm super
It's
excited.
dark.
Yes. So I'm super excited for you and how you launched it. And I've been reading bits and pieces of it, but I haven't fully been able to commit immersing myself with all the finals and things like that. But I'm about to, and I'm excited. It's a great book. If you haven't got it, get it. It is such sauce. It's such sauce.
It was definitely a lot of vulnerability in this book as well as you've probably seen. I start each chapter with a personal story from my own life. There's moments where I debated whether I should keep it in, but I thought, you know what, you the readers need to know who I am, what shaped me, and how I've come to be, how I've learned these lessons that have led to success in my life. And that was the whole point, was I want to share these with you guys so that you can apply them in your life. So yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, it's been, I really will say, this Q3 into Q4 has been a whirlwind of momentum. I think I was just like, all right, let's go. The book launch came and I've been networking and getting ready for different presentations that are coming up. So it's been busy. And then we have the holidays around the corner. And in the future, coming up in a few weeks, I have an announcement. Angelica and I are going to be hosting our show in person in New York.
So excited. So
I
we'll be
know.
able to do it. Hopefully it's not too cold, but
Hopefully, I know, yes.
we're gonna have so much fun. And I think you said this is our finale for season 2.
Yes, exactly. So look out for that episode. Our season finale is going to be recorded live in New York. Well, I mean, we'll be live in New York. It'll be edited for you guys because I don't know what could happen while we're out there. But yes, look
That's
out for
true.
it. It should have that should air in December. So it's so
That's
exciting.
exciting. I think we do like our seasons through the years, through quarters. So I think having these and like getting through our journey, I was watching another episode. It was like our fourth one, and I was like, oh my gosh, if I could just like hop in the screen and shake us to see. I mean, it's so crazy. You guys seen it. It's been a testament to our journey. And so honestly, I just want to say getting started is just part of it. It's just getting started, accelerating, go.
Getting started, and I love that you said that because getting started with anything, you pretty much have to know you're going to be embarrassing at it. It's going to be cringy. You're going to make mistakes, and maybe this is something me and Angelica understand as being the oldest is we have had to create the template where other people just either try to compete with the template or criticize the template, but we didn't know what we were doing. And we're still breaking those barriers in our own lives, being the first to do a lot of these things. Even building a website. I know now when I look back at my first version, I'm like, oh God, that was so cringy. Or looking back at my first TikToks and Instagrams, I'm like, oh, that's so cringy. But I didn't know what I was doing. I just knew I needed to start. And that's how you get good. That's how you get better. And here we are a year later, the podcast looks so much better than when we first started. We're a lot more comfortable in front of the camera than when we started. So you just have to get over it. You're going to look cringy, you're going to mess up, you're going to flop, and then you just fix it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think you're so good with that stuff too. You handle mistakes very well, Angelica, and you just like roll with it. You're like, all right, okay.
I feel like that's you. I don't hardly see you make any errors, so I have a lot to emulate after. I think you set that template, like the business and the way you convey your things professionally. I think at least you're providing a blueprint for me. So that's inspiring.
Recently, like now when you've had your website and like noticing, I'm like, oh, she's been my little mentor, and I didn't even realize it. Like, oh,
I know. And it feels good because it's like, dang, like being the oldest may be one of the worst curses that could happen to someone, but it's also like God gave me you, and I'm so happy he did because I probably wouldn't be as far as I am with this entrepreneur thing. I think we inspired each other differently in many ways, and I think we really contributed so much to each other's growth. It's equivalent, the growth that we offer each other. So I'm just so grateful for you setting that template and that blueprint, and I can just emulate it, and I have way much more confidence because I have someone like you to emulate it and have support from. So thank you
oh,
for everything you do.
thank you so much. That means so much to me. I really appreciate that, and I hope both of us, both of our testimonials, our examples from people that watch us, realize that we're here for you guys too. This is the whole reason we're doing this is to show that vulnerability, how we're making mistakes, how we're overcoming it, and here's the most efficient way to do things because we've been the big sister. We're your big sisters, basically.
Yeah. And I think you unlock so much in life when you actually realize life isn't supposed to be peaches, creams, and rainbows. Life is essentially really being how you're preparing for the next problem. So, and I was telling Jazmin this earlier. I said, everybody thinks that we're supposed to, we've come to a time now where social media glamorizes life and it's like it's expected that we have caviar on Fridays or, champagne and things like that. I think it's a privilege to be where we are, even to be as far as we've gotten. And I think that that can be so missed and skipped over. And I think it's so important to realize if things aren't going your way, that's fine. It's an opportunity to learn, it's an opportunity to grow. And I think when you start to rewire your brain that way, when you're like, you can't have always those expectations for things to happen all the time. Things aren't going to work out. You need to learn how to fix your mindset to prepare for that next problem. You need to use all the resilience that you have in you, piece by piece, juice by juice, bone by bone, whatever it is, and figure that out. And I was telling Jazmin too, I said, James Bond, always in a suit and tie. The world's blowing up. He's like, I'm on that. Like he knows how to rewire the train, the plane. The guy is so talented. I've never seen him panic. And that's how I try to see going through my life is like, what would I look like as a PhD professor panicking? It didn't work out. So I need to prepare my methods to get through that not working out process.
Right. That's why it's so important to go through all of the mistakes, collect your data, course correct, and do it again. Collect, make the mistakes. And it's just a cycle. And if you don't look at it as mistakes, but look at it as the learning process, like, all right, cool. That was just the first round. Give me three more rounds. I got this. Just look at
Yeah.
it that way rather than, oh my God, I made a mistake. I'm a failure. I'm stupid. I'm this or whatever. But rather get through the process of learning and go through it faster. The faster you can make mistakes, the faster you can collect the data, the faster you can get to success and just
Be
get through
more
the
efficient.
uncomfortableness.
And like I was telling her earlier, we were drinking our little coffee and talking. I said, I've been in my word with the Lord lately this whole weekend, and it's been great. I know that I'm not a perfect Jew or whatever, but I'm learning all the time. And I thought, man, I was focusing because on our Prashah every week we read the same chapters as the Jewish people. So we're coming to an end on Deuteronomy. And I told Jazmin, I said, what a privilege we get to go through all of this. Moses went through the desert for 40 years and still didn't get to go to the promised land. So anytime I'm thinking, I'm having a bad day or I'm being ungrateful, I'm like, Moses didn't even get to go to the promised land, you know? And that reminds me and it humbles me really quick because I'm like, I'm so fortunate, even if, yes, I have all these accolades and things like that, but this could be enough. It's great to be overly ambitious, but I also think I'm so proud of myself for coming this far, and you are. And I think that a lot of people get so lost in the process that it's like they feel like they're not doing enough or no. You are. It's just it's not gonna you can't go A to Z overnight. I hope that our audience understands that you have to start somewhere. And part of that is through the failures, through the lessons, getting to know yourself, building that foundation and building the resilience.
And here's another thing that actually crossed my mind recently, going back to when we went to college, it took us longer than the average person. We didn't come from privilege. We didn't come from anything that could possibly set us up for success. So getting a bachelor's degree took me 8 years. It took me way longer than it should have taken. And then now in the business world, again, I am the first one in my family to launch a business, create a business. I'm learning as I go. Like I said, I'm building the plane and driving it at the same time. So I'm learning how to do these things. And I'm also finding out there's people that I'm networking with that have had the privilege, the connections, and they're not having to build from the ground up like I've had to, which is so painful because what's taking me 3 years, they've gotten it done the first year. And that's another pill we have to swallow of being the first because there's no one there coaching us. There's no one there setting an example, no one giving us all the inside tips of how to accelerate this process. And that's another place where you have to give yourself grace and just know, hey, I'm the first one in this lineage. I'm the first one in this family doing this so that the one behind me, I'm like walking so the one behind me can run.
Yeah, that's so beautifully said. You couldn't have said that in a much graceful manner. It took me 6 years to get my degree, and I feel that way. I see my little cousins, they have these programs now where they get their associates as they graduate high school. And I'm like,
I've seen that.
you have a stable home and you get to do this. You're so ahead, and I'm so happy for them because they're ahead, and that means they're going to learn these lessons a lot more faster and maybe not take as long. But I always feel like when I struggle, I always have to remember, as you say, I hate to repeat it, we're the first ones doing it, and it just sucks because not only are we having a struggling time fitting in with the elites, we have that time where I was watching the movie you told me to watch, Sweet Home Alabama with Reese Witherspoon, and it's like we're not trying to evolve to not be relatable. We're trying to help you guys pass the torch, but it's harder being the first one in your family because I don't know how you feel, but it's our rasa. That it's like you think you're better than us, da, da, da. And it's not everybody. Sometimes it's a few cousins, and I ultimately I have to just forgive them. And it's kind of like Joseph in the Bible and the Torah. His brothers traded him for a slave. They got envious, and then later he became the king's Egypt Pharaoh's helper or something like that,
Oh,
and he
wow.
forgave them. So you never know. Yes, the envious might hurt, but you might be a testament like Joseph was. He might use you later, and I have to have that open heart to be like, you know what? You messed up. I messed up. I wasn't prepared to be the leader. I wasn't prepared to accept the rattle that was going to come with this. I didn't know that that was going to happen when you chose a different road than the
Yes.
norm.
Oh gosh, yes. It's definitely a heavy cross to bear.
Yeah.
But shifting gears, now that we've had our inspirational talk, I wanted to make this episode a little bit educational when it comes to the topic of travel. I want I wanted to go back to the fundamentals, especially if travel to me is one of the luxury things that we can experience in this life, and it's not just for the elite. It could be for everybody, but we have to know what we're doing. So I thought I'd go down to the fundamentals, give you guys a baseline, and then we're going to talk a little bit more on the philosophical parts of travel. But starting with the basics, what is TSA PreCheck? Have you guys ever heard of that? What is TSA PreCheck? TSA PreCheck is a way that you can register your fingerprints and do a background check with the government so that you can get ahead of the line in certain airports. So you don't have to wait as long or have to take off your shoes or do anything like that. Though I would Google TSA PreCheck if you're going to find yourself traveling more. It's been a while since I've paid for it, but I think it was about $100 the last time I did it. The other one is global entry. Global entry is just like it says when you're coming in and out of the country. This will help expedite the process of when you travel outside the country and come back. So you're not having to wait in these long lines of
Customs.
customs. Yes. You'll be able to go straight through, again, ahead of the VIP line. To me, this is worth it. I think you only have to renew it every 5 years. Totally worth having the global entry, especially if you plan on going in and out of the country often. There's another membership called Clear. Clear is not it's not available in all airports, but this is one that will allow you to get ahead of lines. And this one's kind of tricky because especially like in the Denver airport, to me, Clear is a must because those lines are insane at the Denver airport. This helps you, it's a membership to help you get in front of the line, but it's not TSA PreCheck and it's not global entry. For it to really get the most bang for your buck, you want to make sure you have TSA PreCheck and Clear because you can have Clear get in front of the line, but if you don't have TSA PreCheck, you're still going to have to take off your shoes, take out your laptop, all of those things. So that's another thing to keep in mind. An airline loyalty number. Here's the reason why you may want to have an airline loyalty number. American Airlines, Southwest, it doesn't matter. If there is a major hub that you live next to, it's usually a good idea to sign up for their loyalty membership because that means every time you take a flight with them, you're going to get airline miles. Not only is that going to help you elevate your status with the airport, which will allow you perks like maybe a free checked bag or a higher priority or priority seating. That'll help you like work your way up there. But also, when you collect all of these miles, you're going to be able to get free flights. So there's another hack there to not have to be paying for all of these flights. Like right now, I'm building up miles flying domestically, which means within the United States, so that I can purchase tickets to Amsterdam next year because I I mean, the cat's out of the bag. My brother already knows. But my goal is when he graduates college, I want to gift him a trip to Amsterdam. So right now, I'm working on collecting all those miles so I can bless my brother with a little graduation gift to
That is
Amsterdam.
so beautiful. I will probably tag along. It's a direct flight now, I think, to Europe from New York. So I may join you guys. Like that's a big deal graduating college for our people. Like yeah, I'm in there like
Yes,
swimwear out of
he
him.
will. I was the first, and he will be the one to follow me. So I told him this years ago. When you graduate college, you say the word. Where do you want to go? And he chose Amsterdam when he was like 18 or 17. And I said, "All right, done." And now I gotta cough it up. So that's why I'm collecting all my airline miles to hopefully buy one of those tickets for based on airline miles for free, and then just have to pay for my own or one of them. Doesn't matter. And then the other one is when you're traveling outside of the country, sometimes it's not just a passport that you need. Sometimes you have to fill out specific forms to that particular country. And sometimes it could be 24 hours in advance, or sometimes it's 30 days in advance, or 6 months in advance. So you have to make sure you're doing your homework. Otherwise, what happens? I mean, what happens if you don't fill out that
You're in customs for at least 18 hours. Spent a month in
form?
Colombia. We did it like right before the deadline, thank goodness. But if not, you're there for 18 hours. And I
So
don't
you
know
can
what's
get
going to happen to you.
you can get stuck in customs. So make sure you're doing your homework. Just because we're Americans, we are not entitled to travel to every country. We are only entitled in our own country. And we're gonna follow up on that subject of entitlement. That's on my list. We're gonna get to that. But before we get to that, I also want to talk about safety. I had a woman ask me, how do you travel safely as a woman? Because I am a female solo traveler and I've traveled to different countries by myself. And here are some of my tips. I always travel with a carry on. I do not check any bags so that I don't have to worry about things getting lost. I have them on me. And one of the tips that I do is I build a capsule wardrobe. So that means a pair of pants or pair of shorts and pair of tops that can mix and match and mix and match and mix and match. And from like four tops and four bottoms, you can make endless amounts of mixing and matching. A sweater, when it comes to shoes, when I went to Europe, I had one pair of white sneakers that went with everything, like for walking shoes. I had one pair of sandal heels, so that on a nice night where I wanted to be dressed up. And then I had one pair of flat sandals. And that was it. Those three pairs, and one of the pairs I was wearing on the plane. So I only had to pack two. And then toiletries, make sure, depending, because we're going to be doing carry on, that everything is in the right quantities. They don't joke about this stuff, they will throw your stuff away. So make sure that you have, I made sure to get these little containers and fill them up and made sure it was the right measurement. Believe it or not, the United States is gives you way more grace on how much you can carry in liquids in your carry-on than European countries, than other countries. I've had to throw stuff out traveling to other countries. So make sure you read exactly what the measurements are and stick to those. The other thing that I did is I've invested in a crossbody bag where the bag of itself is going to be right here in the front of my chest and it has zippers. So when I'm walking around the city, I have my hand right here where my phone is, where my wallet is, everything is right here. And so unless you're going to come into my chest, my bag is safe. It's not on my side, it's not behind me, it's right in front of me. And you kind of naturally just feel like holding on to your bag here. And the great thing is I had on my bag, I had like a little pocket where I had my phone. So I could just pull it up, take pictures, put it back, pull it up, pull it up. But it was all in front of me in a place that I knew that nobody can snatch from me or pickpocket from me. The other thing that I did was I did bring locks, and I had these tiny little like combination locks that I put on my carry-on bag so that nobody could undo my zippers on my carry-on bags when I was traveling on the tube, like in Europe, or just in general, because I've taken these bags everywhere. It gives me such peace of mind knowing that if I take my eyes off of my duffel bag, nobody can open it. There's a little combination lock on there. The other thing that I did, especially for the biggest trip that I did, was to Europe. I went to London, Paris, and Rome. And what I did is I did a lot of studying of the maps of the streets. And I watched YouTube videos that are basically virtual tours of some of the streets I was going to be walking down, the train stations I was going to go in and out of, the airports I was going to be flying in and out of. Like, for instance, there was an airport I flew into London, and I watched a tutorial, a virtual tour of how to get from the main terminal to where the tubes are, where the where the tube is, where their dang subway is. And so it was so great because I felt like I had already seen everything. So at the moment I landed, I recognized what everything looked like. I already knew how to get there. It felt like I had already been there. YouTube, an amazing tool to try to do virtual tours in advance so you're familiar with the landscape already ahead of time. And I did a lot of walking in a lot in these countries, and most all of them I would prefer to walk so I can get a lay of the land and experience everything. I would study the maps in my hotel room of where I was trying to go, whether it was a restaurant I was trying to check out or bar I was trying to check out. And if I knew I could walk to it, I would study the map in my hotel room and try to get an idea of which way I was going to go so that once I walked out the door, yes, I had the map in my hand, but I wasn't just staring at the map. I kind of had an idea and walked with intention. I don't stare at my map. I don't look like I'm lost. I look like I'm probably on a FaceTime call or something because you want to walk and carry yourself like you know where you're going and you're not to be effed with. And I know that's an aggressive way to say it, but when you are alone, you cannot look vulnerable. You have to look like you're there and you're walking with purpose and authority. I probably look like a bulldog when I was by myself, like, nobody mess with me. You don't even
Honestly,
know I have a gun in here.
yeah, as it should be. The moment I say I'm from Texas, that's all I need to say. They're like, that's gone. Sorry, excuse my French. But you're so right. There's so many tourists. If you're coming to New York for the tourist season, Christmas holidays, I don't feel like New York is essentially part of America. I feel like it's its own entity. It's so diverse. But
For
I see
sure.
people all the time blocking the sidewalk or they stop and look at their maps. And it's like, that's how you get mugged, you know? And I'm like, if you don't want to get cussed out, move to the side. Don't make eye contact. Don't don't walk slow in front of everyone. The city, these people still have to eat. These people still have to
Yes.
work. Don't drag your feet and text and walk in front of them. It's equivalent to driving traffic, you know? And same thing like you were saying with protecting yourself, looking like a bulldog. Yeah, you gotta look like you're not messing around. I
Yes.
know this might be hilarious to many, but anytime somebody tries to charge me, the first thing I do is this is gonna be hilarious. I'm like, because nobody's gonna mess with no one that said something like that. They're like, she knows taekwondo. I'm not gonna mess with her. You know, do the whole leg thing or whatever.
That's crazy.
Crazy. I will give you a real D-town beat down. You hear me? But it's so true. You gotta, carry yourself a certain way to get through places. Like, spent a month in Colombia for our honeymoon. The first thing they said when you wanted to rent a car is like, do you want it armored or non-armored? Like, and I said, what do you mean? They're like, bulletproof or not? And I was like, that's an option? And they were like, yeah, if you're driving through the mountains, you might want to get a bulletproof car. And so I called my dad, and my dad was like, that's not a question. That's an option for a reason. Get the bulletproof car. So there I went. I was like, well, Pablo Escobar's from here. I should be knowing better, study these countries before you go there. I didn't even wear my ring in the country because even just having the little like non ringy thing is a target, and that's kind of the same reason why we don't wear the logos because we're not trying to get robbed at 11 p.m. coming out of the dang restaurant, right?
Oh, that's a good point too as well. I don't wear a lot of jewelry when I'm traveling. I what was the other thing that I do?
The logos.
The logos, yeah. And that's why it was so easy to pack a capsule wardrobe because it was just solids, plain clothes, mixing and matching. You want to kind of just fade into the background. You do not, this is not the time. There's a time and a place to stand out. And when you're traveling, especially by yourself, you're not trying to draw attention to you. So you want to look as muted and simple as possible so that you don't look like a target. And there was so let's go into how you conduct yourself. Like, like behavior. You were saying, Angelica, what were you saying about researching the cultures and
Yeah, sure. I think it's important to kind of do, maybe our attention span's a little crazy. So maybe go into TikTok. What do you want to do? What do you want to wear? If you want to go to an Arabic country, most women are modest there. They're not showing everything. You got to dress a little more modest than usual. You want to respect their values, right? Same thing with being in France. You've been the way you greet people. It's so make sure you're not going with an insecure, weak man that's going to get jealous. That's how they are. So knowing these things before you get there and making sure your partner's aware, you're being respectful, those boundaries are talked about. And I mean, I know that being an American comes with a lot of entitlement. I get that, but so do other countries. You know, they still have values. They don't have, most don't have the freedom and stuff, and some don't even allow you to talk to their women. Most of these women, like in Iran, they don't have rights. So you're very privileged, you're very entitled to be from here, but you still have to, you're representing all of us. Don't go over there and talk crap and get on a video. No, no, no. We're already a laughing stock. Make it better. Don't make it worse. Show some etiquette and some kindness.
that's a great point because etiquette changes from country to country, from state to state. The etiquette in Texas versus the etiquette in New York, slightly different. So make sure that you do your homework in advance of what is considered rude in those areas that you're traveling to, what is considered polite, because there's so many YouTube tutorials or TikToks or videos or blogs you can read. So there's no excuse for not doing your homework because the information is on the internet and easily accessible. Make sure that what I did to try to go a little bit further, not only did I have Google Translate on my phone for in case I ran into somebody that couldn't speak the same language as me, I also learned some phrases in I was like in English. Well, I know English. In French and Italian when I was traveling through Europe to make sure that I didn't come off entitled. If I didn't know something and somebody maybe started conversation with me, I could tell them, "I'm so sorry, I don't speak Italian," or "I'm so," but I could say it in their language. I think in Paris, I was approached by the most like French speaking people, so I really like learned the phrase. I think "Désolé, no parler français."
Say, I get it.
You know, I probably sound so American, but at
Oh,
least I tried. There was no
yeah.
entitlement. It was like I genuinely do not know. Hold on a minute, Google Translate.
Yeah, especially in our own culture, like our elders respect us more when we respond in Spanish. It's kind of a disgrace if you don't know Spanish in our culture. So it's important to immerse yourself. Even going to Colombia, I watched novellas and after novellas. You know, they're like 200 episodes. So by the time I got to Colombia, I thought I was good. I was like, I'm ready. Talk to me. As soon as I got in the cab, they're like, "Hola, mami, ¿qué parece?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" I literally cried because I was like, "No way did I spend 300 hours watching all these novellas, getting traumatized again to learn Spanish." And then I get here and I'm like,
Spanish in different countries is so like it's so different. Like Puerto Rican Spanish and Mexican Spanish, and then even in Mexico, different regions. Some people speak it slower, some people speak it faster. I don't speak fast Spanish.
"Yeah,
Muy despacio.
por favor, por favor." No, you have to, and I think it's so important that we all like share this and that we're all connected in many ways, whether it be through, I think it's through music that we all connect, that we can all, like we're not trying to single someone out because they don't know English. You try to direct them and help them and explain to them and be gentle with these people because we are so privileged to have freedom of speech here. You can't sit there and go and be like, Iran sucks. Yeah, do you want to get, you can't do that. I feel bad for saying that and using it as an example, but, and that makes me sound entitled, but it's just, you don't want to get arrested. You know, like the girl from Houston, Texas, she got arrested in Dubai because she was cussing and smoking and she's got like her outfits are, everything's out, you know. Anyways, go ahead.
I don't know where people get this delusion that just because maybe because they've been born and raised in only one country, they assume that the whole world functions the same way, and it doesn't. So you have to make sure you do your homework. One, let's recap. Make sure it is if you're going to solo travel, make sure it is safe for you to solo travel as a female, because I'm speaking for women. Make sure that you understand what is polite and disrespectful to that culture so that you make sure that you're being conscious and courteous to those to that demographic of people, and make sure that you do your homework studying the maps and the areas and knowing where you're going so that you don't look like a lost tourist. You know where you're going, and that'll give you less opportunity to look like an easy target to get mugged or hurt or whatnot. I've been very lucky. I've traveled to multiple countries and nothing has happened at all. I've been very, very either lucky or I've really done my homework and 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 don't get me wrong. I don't do that. But don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm like an uptight like bulldog the 24/7 that I'm there. Like for example, in France, I have the best story of visiting France. Okay, again, by myself, I had no plan. Like this was one night I just wanted wine and cheese. I'm like, that sounds great for dinner. Girl dinner, let's go. And I find this place and it has great ratings, but I didn't realize it was taking me so far off the tourist area that I was hanging out with the locals. Not a single person spoke English to this wine bar that I showed up to. But I'm glad I stayed because they had two floors and in the bottom it was a cave. And so I'm having wine down here at the bottom of this cave and nobody speaks English. My Google Translate doesn't freaking work because I have no reception down in this cave. And three French men come up to me and decide to start chatting with me and hit on me. And I'm like, désolé, no parle français. These men could speak music. The songs that were coming on, Michael Jackson, Madonna, ABBA, we were just dancing and singing the words. It was American music, and we were drinking wine. We danced together. I have all these little video clips that I always look back on. And I never felt safer. And we could have a whole nother subject about men from different countries versus United States. These men were so respectful, so polite. I never felt the aggressiveness that I feel sometimes here with American men. I felt just safe. I felt safe to get drunk with these guys.
Yeah.
And they
And
were like, all
most,
right, well, have a good night. One waited for my Uber to pick me up and all was well. No pressure, no expectations, just pure gentlemen
wow.
and having a great time. And
And they most, go ahead.
I got I got drunk with strangers in France. I got drunk with strangers in Italy. Super safe. I did all of the stuff beforehand to make sure that I was safe so that when there was time to let loose, it was time to let loose. Of course, I didn't get freaking blacked out, but I did make
Yeah,
friends and had some drinks.
there you go.
So yeah,
And
there's a
most of
good
these
way.
men are, oh,
Yeah,
go
go
ahead.
ahead.
They're so
No,
nice
what?
and polished that they get mistaken for being gay. And it's like, no, you can still be straight and be metrosexual. And like that's the way those French men are. My French friend Raouf, he's always like, "Hola, Angelica, besos," and he's all like, he will text me besos, and I'm like, "Dang, like this is a little inappropriate," but it's not. That's just who they are.
I was gonna say.
Yeah. And it's the same thing with like whenever you came to New York and we had a big old table and it was my birthday and you got up and you were like yelling and then my friend was like, "No, no, no, you shouldn't do that." And she goes, "No, no, no." Jazmin goes, "This is New York. That's what you do." But you weren't doing it in a tacky manner. You were like sharing and conveying the story the way you wanted to. And I remember her being like, "Oh no, what are you doing?" Because in the South, you can't get away with that. But in New York, it's like you're loud. I had to mute me a few times because the workers are yelling at them, each other, cussing each other out. I'm like, let me mute this. But you got to know where you're at, how to convey yourself. And sometimes you got to hit them with a little, wah.
Whatever keeps you safe.
I'm kidding.
But on that note, this was so much fun. I'm so glad you guys let us share our tips and tricks on travel and just trying to keep you guys inspired. If there's any questions you guys have about travel that maybe I didn't answer or you have for me or Angelica, please put it in the comments. We can always do another episode just dedicated to travel if there's like a rabbit hole you guys want us to go down to. Angelica and I have both done domestic and international travel, so this is definitely a subject we can share with. She can talk from traveling with somebody because that's a whole nother subject. That I'm sure there's tips and tricks to traveling with somebody. I've done the solo travel, so we can hit it at both angles. But I would love to leave you guys with a quote, one from Angelica and one from me, and we'll wrap up for today. Go ahead
Yay.
and say your quote, Angelica.
Earlier, she asked me what quote would you leave, and I thought, because I hadn't been able to solo travel and I've heard her stories, and I thought, man, if someone could tell me what I needed to hear at 25 or 24, I would have taken this advice. But I said, see the world first before a man can give you the world. Love in different countries is not the same standard as the US. So if you are unmarried and you're through the grit right now and you're working on your degree, travel first before you settle for anyone. You never know. There are like 7 billion people in the world. He might be in Asia. Don't be scared to try that.
Go. Take the leap. Be fearless, especially in your
Yeah.
20s. That's the time to do it. Do it, baby.
And when you're sexy still, like you're
I
sexy
mean,
until
you
you're like
still got your sexy.
60s. Yeah, in your 60s, maybe damn. Hopefully, I'm as hot as Barbara Streisand was when she was in her 60s. So we'll see.
Well, hopefully by your 60s, you're wealthy and who gives a?
That's true. Yeah. Look at Fran the nanny. She still got it.
Yeah.
But what's your quote?
Ne-
Let's hear it.
my quote is a high value woman never waits to be invited into luxury. She creates it herself.
Oh, wow.
So my message to you guys is yes, even though it's so nice to have a man in your life that can do these things for you, if you are at a point in your life where you are single and you're by yourself right now and building your life, you don't have to wait. And this is totally piggybacking off of what Angelica said. You don't have to wait for a man to give you the world. You can go get it for yourself. You can go experience it for yourself. Just go out there, do your homework, learn the tricks, learn the tips, and you can go experience this world or experience like love. You can experience men from different worlds
Yeah.
and different worlds, different countries.
Consult with whoever you need to, but we're not responsible for the decisions and choices you make later on. This is just our perception on how we would do it if we were 23 again.
Oh, yeah, just go for it. You still have time to correct it. There's still time to make up. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. New episodes drop every other week, and we want to hear from you. Let us know in the comments what topics you'd love for us to cover next. Until next time, keep chasing your dreams and making them a reality.
Bye, guys.
Bye.